Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah, also on Instagram at divine_goddess_27, Brighton, Patreon, and Melanated People at Queen Ahmadiyyah, and Twitter at dgoddess27. Also, make sure you text the word royals, text the word royals to 1-844-589-6096 so that you can be added to my call list so you can receive occasional text offers, notifications, and alerts. Okay? Especially if you haven't been getting your notifications from YouTube. All right, so let's get into it. You know I want you, Queen. Never mind, don't start. Okay, so let's get into it, people. Okay, so I have a PowerPoint prepared for you guys. Now, we're going to do part one. This is part one. It's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to break it up into 2 lessons, okay? So today, we're going to do part one, talking about self-hypnosis, right? And why it's important. So I'm going to share my screen because I have, again, a PowerPoint that I prepared. Let me tell you something. I really need to start doing these PowerPoints at night. That's why I'm usually late, because I'm still working on the PowerPoint right when the time comes. I try to get it done quickly, but you know how it is sometimes. Okay, Desmond says spiritual food and shout me out, Queen. Desmond wants to plug himself. Thank you, Desmond, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. So Desmond is my moderator, and he has a podcast on Spotify. Desmond, I forget the name of the podcast, beloved. Hold on. I know he has it in the chats. Desmond, put your link in here, beloved. I don't see it. Okay, yeah. So he has a podcast, and he talks about numerous issues and things. So make sure you check him out, okay, on Spotify. All right, and don't forget my moderator, Beatzilla PDX Official on YouTube has his own channel. All right, so make sure you support them too if you could. Thank you. Pearlie says, keep speaking the truth, Queen. Thanks. Well, thank you, beloved, for your kind words and for your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. So let's get into it, okay? I'm excited to tell you all about that. Melody Brown said, I think anyway, Des. I just went to his podcast. It's a new day in the neighborhood. Okay, great. All right. Ray Williams says, we love the Queen, the best articulator, no one greater, says Ray Williams. Thank you, Ray, for your kind words. Okay. Let's get into it. Now, let me go ahead and share my screen. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please be sure to get the likes up. All right. Here we go. Hold on, people. Hold on. I'm on the wrong screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's get into it. Okay. The power of self-hypnosis and visualization. Now, we're not going to talk about visualization on this part. I'm going to save that for part 2 of this, okay? Because it was all too much for me to get it, done in the time that it took me to put together this presentation. So, okay, now listen to this. 10% of Americans suffer from depression, with an increase of 20% each year. Now, the reason I'm talking about this, people, is because this is very important. Because, I just did a live about Simone Biles on my other channel and about her struggles with mental health issues. And then earlier this year, we talked about Meghan Markle and her mental health issues. And then there was Naomi Osaka, right? So I think that mental health issues is something in the Black community more so than others that we really don't often address. And a lot of times we keep things bottled up inside and, we are embarrassed to talk about it or whatever. But some of the things I'm going to tell you could likely help you if you're going through struggles and stress, if you're feeling depressed, and low vibrational and things like that. So that's why this channel is so important to me. And that's why it's my favorite channel, because it talks about positivity, encouragement, motivation, inspiration, spirituality, your third eye, and all of those wonderful things that can help us to elevate our lives as we evolve into the people that we actually want to be, and as we strive and struggle to reach and maintain our goals. Okay? So usually depression can be linked to a lack of self-worth or self-esteem. And the thing about self-esteem that I want to say is, you know, a lot of people are more concerned with what other people think about them. And so that makes them feel insecure about themselves. And you feel insecure about yourself because maybe you were told negative things as a child. Maybe you've had, you know, bad relationships, whether platonic or, you know, intimate. Maybe you have just never felt like you had anyone there as a support base, anyone that encouraged you or helped you to get through things. So oftentimes we have, you know, low self-worth because there's things about ourselves that we're unhappy about, and there's no one whispering in your ear or telling you, you know, that you can achieve your goals, you can do better, you know, things will get better. There's always trouble, but you can make things, you can change your circumstances. Sometimes people don't have people to tell them these things, so they stay low vibrational and feeling bad about themselves. Now, this is partly because we live in a very competitive society and a fast-paced society where priority is not always given to taking time for oneself, for self-examination or personal growth. It's easier to be how others want us to be rather than to be ourselves. A very effective way of dealing with subconscious material and thoughts and negative feelings is through hypnosis. Self-hypnosis. That's very important because it also can teach us discipline, to stay focused, and to be more high vibrational. Okay? And you know, Simone Biles, speaking of her, I think a lot of her problem is not that she wasn't confident in her athletic abilities, because clearly she should know that she's great. I hope that she does. But I think more so her problem was the people on the outside, the critics, you know, the ones that were hating and saying, oh, she just won because she's black, things like that, you know, with Carlotta Ferlita, whatever her name is, I believe that's her name. And then also with the pressure, because she said there was a lot of pressure on her. And that's the same thing that happened with Naomi Osaka. You see, people start to put unrealistic expectations on you sometimes, right? They won't just let you be great. Can't I just be great and do what I love to do and enjoy myself doing it and please myself? Sometimes people won't let you do those things because they don't want you to please yourself. They want you to please them. And no matter how high you set your bar and then you reach the level that you've set it at, there's always going to be people who think you should go higher, who think that you're doing something wrong, who thinks that you should have gone left, but instead you went right. There's always going to be someone who's complaining. There's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people who want to knock you off your block. There's always people who are going to want to tell you things to discourage you rather than encourage you. And you really can't listen to them because at the end of the day, these people are unrealistic because they act as though you're supposed to be flawless, as if you're not supposed to make mistakes, as if you're not supposed to get tired and fed up and frustrated sometimes. But everybody does at some point in life. And people are so selfish that they don't see that a person is struggling and they don't care that the person is going through something. Instead, all they want the person to do is what they want to be done so that they themselves can be gratified and satisfied. They don't care about you being happy. Your happiness means nothing to them. And they don't care if you're going through depression. They only worry about themselves and what they stand to gain from your hard work. And that is what Simone Biles is going through right now. What is hypnosis? Well, that's a good question. You see, hypnosis actually, in all actuality, if you do the research, came from our ancient ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, i.e. the ancient Cometians. But at the end of the day, the credit has been given to a man by the name of Franz Mesmer. That's why they talk about mesmerism, the art of mesmerism, right? And hypnosis. So they say Franz Mesmer came up with it. I read a book about him so many years ago when I was right out of high school. But now, mesmerism is a technique used to put a person in a trance-like state. Hypnotism is the practice of causing a person to enter a state in which he or she responds very readily to suggestions or commands. Okay? So there is a slight difference between mesmerism and hypnotism. Some people think they're exactly the same, but there's a slight difference. Okay, now, the history of hypnosis is as ancient as that of sorcery, magic, and medicine. Indeed, hypnosis has been used as a method in all three, actually. Okay, people use it in magic when they want to hypnotize you into doing what they want for clearly nefarious reasons. Like, you know, when we talk about MK Ultra mind control, clearly nefarious, or when people are doing sorcery, which is the same as magic, just, you know, per se. So when they're trying to get the person to do something nefarious for them, right? Sort of like Sirhan, or the Manchurian Candidate, if you saw that movie, but also like Sirhan. Now, many say that he was hypnotized into committing that assassination. Okay? So most of us would think of stage performances when you think of hypnosis, because you see these shows where they have a man come out and he'll hypnotize certain people from the audience, call them up on the stage, and like 5 or 6 of them, and then he'll count to 3, you know, when they snap out of it. But while they're hypnotized, while they're under, he'll tell them different things to do. So that's often what people think about automatically when they think about hypnosis. Many people. Now, but as you can easily and safely do this yourself with the practice of self-hypnosis to eliminate negative beliefs and behaviors and substitute positive ones to boost your self-esteem. Hypnosis is a heightened sense or a heightened state of receptivity, suggestibility, responsiveness, openness, to thoughts, sensations, or actions, and which the end result is to acquire automatic positive responses. Okay? LeVar said he thinks YouTube deleted his comment. I don't know why they would do that, beloved. I don't even know why they're on this channel, but who knows? Now, so just with that in mind, LeVar, all of you, just be careful of certain words that you use because it triggers the algorithm, and that's why it gets deleted. Maybe you didn't even say anything nefarious, but just certain words. Okay? Okay, now, you are almost always in a hypnotic state, TransHypnagogic state, but it's especially noticeable when falling asleep and upon awakening. Notice how effective TV commercials are, and you will get an idea of how suggestibility works, or how the media in general influences public thought and action. Yes. Now, I have told you all this numerous of times on the other channel. When we, that's why I call the mainstream media, as I call it the biggest propagandist machine, because they absolutely are able to program people through suggestibility. They make suggestions, even on social media. Listen, have you ever noticed that if you're talking on your cell phone, and you're talking to someone about something, maybe cat food. We'll just say cat food, because that's what a guy told me that they were talking about once. Him and his girlfriend were talking about cat food. And then as soon as he got off the phone, he went on Facebook and a cat food ad popped up. You didn't think that was coincidence, did you? Like, they really have this AI technology that can, you know, hear your conversations or whatever, and then show you ads about what you were just discussing or thinking about. And that is suggestibility, because then they can suggest or program you to, oh, you want to go here and get this type of cat food, or you want to go here and do this, right? Rain Love says the media hypnotized too. This is why I stopped watching TV. Absolutely, I don't watch TV. I absolutely do not. So now, hypnagogia is the transitional state of consciousness between wakefulness and sleep, right? So have you ever felt like when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you're in a trance, like you're looking around the room and you may think you saw something that wasn't there, you know, almost like you're hallucinating for whatever reason, but that's hypnagogia. When you're transitioning from your sleep into your awakened state, you're not fully awake, right? It's the opposite of hypnopompia, which is the transitional state that occurs before you wake up. Now, during hypnosis, your brain switches from the normal thinking sensory motor state of beta frequency 12 to 20 hertz to the lower frequency alpha 8 to 12 hertz, which is a much more relaxed state. And I want you to keep this in mind, these frequencies that I'm talking to you about, because one day this, let me see, today's Thursday. Well, I only have really a couple of days left, but either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to be talking about allegories from the Bible, right? Especially in the book of Genesis, and how that whole story about Noah and the ark was really allegorical about the stages and levels of consciousness and how the brain changes frequency, right? So we're going to be talking about those. So keep this in mind about the beta frequencies and the 12 to 20 hertz and all of that, because that's something we're going to talk about in the story of the allegories. Now, 8 to 12 hertz is much more relaxed and expanded, where creativity and ideas emanates, a state of peace and well-being, right? Now, this is the bridge to long forgotten memories, and the state in which your subconscious mind is open to accepting new programming, like the television programs you. That's why it's called television programming, right? Or television programs. Tell lie vision, telling lies to your vision, making you see things that aren't really there. The power of suggestion. That's what all of that is. So you will recognize this state by any of the following bodily sensations, such as tingling in the fingertips, numbness or limb distortion, light feeling of floating away from your body, heavy like sinking, energy moving through the body, emotions heightened, fluttering eyelids, salivation increases, right? Or salivation increases or decreases, and tiredness, but yet you don't fall asleep. Has anyone ever experienced that? I'm sure you have. What's the devil's hertz, Queen? Please try to avoid it. It's 440 hertz, and it's what most of the music that you listen to is on. And yes, that is almost unavoidable if you listen to music. And even if you don't intend to, you hear it in the car, on the radio. You hear it when you go into buildings. They're playing it on the intercom. It's just almost unavoidable. You hear it on, the television if you watch it or whatever. You hear it all the time. Most music is recorded at 440 hertz, and that is the devil's frequency. Now, the first thing we should do when we're practicing self-hypnosis, right, is generate a goal or an intention. All right? Generate a goal or intention. Now, for example, one aspect of how you'd like your life to be, think about that. Loving yourself and with a high level of self-confidence. Think about how you want to see yourself in the future. What do you want to be doing, 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Visualize yourself, right? Imagine yourself looking the way you want to look, working a job that you want to have, making the money you want to make. Just have a goal or an intention that you're trying to set so you can focus on that. Now, the second thing is formulate a statement with these characteristics. Simple and easy to understand. It can be repeated in 5 seconds or less and uses vivid images that are always positive, believable, and specific. Now, one way to do this is to recognize a limiting belief, like I am too fat, and so no one likes me. That's what you should not say to yourself ever. I told you no one is perfect. We all have flaws and fall short of the glory of the Most High. At the end of the day, when you say negative things about yourself, you're speaking it upon yourself. If you're saying that you're too fat, well, you're going to stay too fat. Don't say you're too fat, even if you think you are. Say to yourself, I am losing weight. I am getting to the ideal weight for my body, my height, or whatever. Say those type of things. I am fit. I am healthy. I love working out. Those are the things you say, not I am too fat, please. Okay? There's always room for improvement, as I always tell you. Anything about yourself that you don't like, you can always change it. So, using vivid images that are always positive, believable, and specific. One way to do this is recognizing limiting beliefs, and don't say you're too fat, no one likes me. You might examine situations when this seems to be true and how often, right? Are there any cases where this isn't true? Ask yourself. Next, flip into a positive statement. I feel fine in my body and people like me. Hold on to that statement. And this is why I always teach you to say positive affirmations when you rise in the morning. Start your day off saying something positive about yourself. And if you have children, start your day off saying something positive to them, especially when you're dropping them off at school or taking them to daycare. Give them something positive to cling to throughout the day. Teach them to have high self-esteem and to feel good about themselves, so that when naysayers and haters come and try to say something mean to them, trying to bully them or whatever, that they won't listen to that, because they will know who they are. Now, from your belly, counting to 7 during the inhalation hold, the inhalation, hold it for a count of 2, and then exhaling while counting to 11. Hold for 2 counts, then repeat 3 times, and you will find that this becomes automatic. So your breathing is very important. When you're doing your mantras, it's very important to do your breathing. And if you practice yoga, you know these things, right? But breathing from the diaphragm, taking a deep breath and then exhaling, right? Reese says, yes, thank you for this message. You're welcome, beloved. Brandon says, interesting. Yes, Queen, we are all a work in progress. Absolutely, Ren. Absolutely. So with that all being said, and yes, Zamara, it is like prayers, beloved. Zamora, it is like prayers. It's really the same thing. It's just calling it something different, right? So you want to practice your breathing. And as you're breathing, visualize yourself being happy. Picture yourself looking the way you want to look and doing the things that you want to do and accomplishing your goals. Because if you can see something in your mind's eye, you can absolutely manifest it. Don't think negatively and don't say you can't. Say that you can. And like I always say, whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. Now, I think I've said this one already. Okay, I typed that twice accidentally. Now, bring in your goal. Bring in your goal into your mind, right? Say it, visualize it, experience it as if it were really happening. So this is the part about visualization. Like I said, we'll talk further about visualization on the next part. But you want to be able to envision yourself doing the things that you want. You want to visualize yourself. Let me give you an example. If there's a house that you want, say if you want a new house, picture yourself sitting in that new house or walking through the door, just touring the house, looking around, laying out your, putting your furniture, decorating the house. Visualize these things. Let me tell you a story about Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey told a story about before he got famous. Let me tell you something he did. He really manifested these things. Now, he said when he was younger and he was a struggling actor, he said there was a house on Mulholland Drive, and every day he would drive to that neighborhood and he would sit in front of that house and he would look at it and he would say, man, I'm going to live in this neighborhood. I'm going to get me a house in this neighborhood. I'm going to move here. And he would just close his eyes and visualize himself in that house, walking through the door, laying out his things, opening the closet, his clothes inside, his shoes on the floor, his furniture in the living room. He would visualize this as he sat in the car in front of the house in this neighborhood with his eyes closed. And then he also said that he visualized that he would make $10 million. Yes. So he said it was in November. And one day he told himself, I'm going to have $10 million by this time next year, before Thanksgiving. And so he wrote himself a check. He took a check and wrote himself a check for $10 million. And he put it in a book. I can't remember if it's the Bible or whatever, but he said he put it in a book, right? He put it in his wallet. That's where he put it. He put it in his wallet and he kept it in there for like so long. And I take that back. Hold on. I'm getting the story confused. He said that he would have that amount of money in like 5 years, but it would be before Thanksgiving in 5 years, not the next year, but 5 years. So he said that he wrote the check for $10 million, put it in his wallet, And he kept it there. And he said after a few years, you know, the check started getting faded, you know, like the ink was coming off of it, whatever. And by the 5th year, he got a call for a role that he auditioned in. And I believe it was that movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, his first big role. And do you know they paid him $10 million? So he absolutely manifested it because he focused his efforts, he stayed disciplined and true to himself, and he visualized it. He actually saw himself with the check, and not only that, he wrote the check so that he could see it every day, to see it, visualizing it, right? And then he ended up buying a house in that neighborhood on Mulholland Drive. So I'm telling you, this stuff is absolutely able to be accomplished. You can do it if you try and pay attention and focus, and you think positively and stay high vibrational, right? I never heard of that story. Very inspiring, says Silent D. Yes, it was inspiring. Absolutely. And one thing about Jim Carrey actually knows how to raise his Kundalini energy and activate his pineal gland and the optic thalamus. Okay? He knows all about that. He calls it the Christ within. He knows all about that whole thing. So he's very awakened or conscious, as we would say. Now, number 6, visualize it as if you have already attained the goal. Right? Especially notice any feelings. If there are negative or limiting, if they are negative or limiting, gently let them go. Stay with this as long as it feels comfortable. So when you feel negative thoughts coming into your mind, try to dispel those thoughts, because, you know, you block your blessings, as some people say, or you block your manifestation, right? You block your manifestation when you are thinking and holding on to negative, doubtful thoughts and feelings. You want something to happen, but you're afraid that it won't. You say, oh, maybe I'm just kidding myself. Maybe I'm just a fool. I shouldn't be thinking these things. No, when you are thinking negatively, that's what you attract, is more of it. So you always want to be thinking positively and visualizing yourself as if you're already there, right? Don't say, I want. Don't say, I want to be in a better job. I want to make more money. Say, I am making more money, or I do make more money. I do have a better job. I am at a better job. I am making more money. Because remember, whatever you say after the words I am is absolutely what happens. Number 7, feel gratitude. Remember how I always tell you to have an attitude of gratitude, and that you don't always have to pray to the Most High to ask for something. You can absolutely pray to the Most High just to say thank you and being grateful, showing an attitude of gratitude. Because the thing is this, there's karma and there's universal laws, which we discussed previously, and there's things that we put out that come back, the energy, right? So if you are ungrateful, then you don't get blessings. You don't get manifestations of positive things. You only attract more negativity because you're being negative. Like, if you notice some people, let me give you an example. There was a guy who won the lottery a few years ago, and I think he won like maybe $1 million. Now, he had a brother who wasn't doing so well financially. So he gave his brother $100,000. Now, that's a lot of money to give somebody, honey. I don't know if I'd give somebody $100,000. I mean, I would help them, but $100,000. So he gave his brother that. And then his brother squandered the money, and it was gone within a few months, right? And then after his brother lost the money, he comes back to him and says, hey, man, can you give me another $100,000? He's like, no, I gave you $100,000. You should have invested it. You should have made the money work for you. What are you talking about? I just gave it to you 6 months ago. He says, well, you can afford to give me another $100,000. You have all this money. You won $1 million. And it's not like you worked hard for the money. You won the money. That's an attitude of entitlement. He felt entitled because his brother had been blessed, that he felt that he was supposed to be entitled to his brother's money. He didn't have any gratitude whatsoever. How dare you? Somebody gives you a whole $100,000 and you go blow it, and now you're mad because they don't want to give you more. But here's the thing. Remember what I told you the other day when I said that You can have a lot of money, but if you're low vibrational, you won't hold on to that money. It'll be gone just as quick as you got it. Because low vibrational people, they don't have the ability to manifest positivity. All they do is manifest more negativity. And until they change their mindset and the way they think and view things and the things that they focus their energy and efforts on, they will always stay in a negative space and place. And so you can give them all this money, but that money will quickly leave their hands. That's why they say a fool and its money will soon part. This is absolutely true. Negative people, they're not going to be able to hold on to money like that, right? They're going to lose it. And then they're going to come back begging for more. And when you say no, now they want to make you feel bad and try to guilt you and shame you and act as if you owe them something. When, like I told you on a previous live, also, you owe no one anything, right? So keep that in mind. So feeling thankful for having attained your positive goal. Spend like 15 to 20 seconds or more feeling thankful, just being thankful, right? How well this works depends on how real you can make your intention statement seem. Being present as if the desired intention was happening in the here and now. This is how Native American shamans, which I am a shaman. In case you all didn't know, I am also Native American. You know, I'm a North American native of Cherokee descent. Legally, that's how I'm classified and identified, not as African American, but that's a whole story for another day. So with that all being said, this is how the Native American shamans do rainmaking. And it is because of my Native American ancestry and knowing who I am and knowing my elders because they knew who they were. Well, that's how I know all of these spiritual things, because this is passed down, you know, from my grandmother, from her grandmother, and all of that. So now, after going to a high energy place and doing appropriate rituals to contact the Great Spirit, they can actually feel the rain and give thanks to the Spirit. Literally, the rain dances work, in other words. When you see natives doing rain dances, they absolutely work. And you know why they work? Because first of all, they're manifesting it, they're thinking and focusing on it, and they're visualizing it, right? And they're all on one accord. In the Bible, it says, when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. So basically, if you and other people, a group of people or another person are all on the same accord and you all want the same thing to happen, then you can make it happen much quicker. Tony Curtis says, I'm going to hypnotize myself to become a white person. So I cannot with you, Tony Curtis. Let me continue. So remember that emotions are the fuel sending the subconscious into action. Be in touch with them and you will have success. In any case, you should become very relaxed and free of tensions and stress. And if you're going through something, this is absolutely what you should be doing, right? Remember, I tell you to say your positive affirmations every morning. I tell you that when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling down, it's the flow of energy, right? It's the gravity that's pulling you down. That's why when people are sad, they look down with their head hung down. When people are happy, they look up. And people say, oh, they've got their nose in the air. Because that's what happiness does. It's the gravitational pull. It's the universe responding to the energy that you're putting out. Hypnosis can help you recognize and release limiting beliefs about yourself, increasing your self-confidence. Hypnosis helps you face your fears. When certain situations or challenges trigger deep-seated fears, sometimes and most often we tend to avoid them. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to hear about it, right? We don't want to think about it. And that can be negative, right? That can leave a negative impact on your self-esteem. So you don't want to do that. You want to be able to face your fears. You want to be able to turn a negative into a positive. Now, the subconscious mind or inner voice controls quite a bit about how we feel about ourselves. And that's why it's called self-esteem, because it's really all about, it boils down to how you feel about yourself, your inner self. Our unconscious thoughts can be ardent supporters, telling us to feel good about the way we look and our abilities. Or the subconscious can be a fierce critic, filling our minds with the negative, unhealthy thoughts about ourselves. Now, the problem is overcoming these negative thoughts is a real challenge. And they really are for most people. This is why people end up committing suicide, sinking into bouts of depression, not being able to eat or sleep, and continuously stressed out. And all of these negative things create dis-ease. Dis-ease, and that's why they call it disease, because you cannot be at ease with yourself because you're too caught up in worrying, too caught up in being pessimistic, right? Instead of focusing on how to solve the problem. Like I tell you, we all have problems. There's no need to dwell on the problem unless you are trying at the same time to get a solution. If you're just sitting there saying, oh, I can't pay my bills. Oh, I'm going to get evicted. I'm going to get put out. I don't have anywhere to go. You're saying all of these things. Well, talking about it and worrying about it is not going to change your situation. You need to be actively focusing on the solution to the problem. We can talk about our problems all day long, but unless we're focusing on a solution, the problems will never go anywhere. They'll continue to haunt us. Now, these thoughts are automatic and deeply embedded in our minds. You look into the mirror and bam, the subconscious tells you not to like what you see. It happens unconsciously, automatically for some people. Now, in other words, low self-esteem is often the result of flaws in our subconscious. Our automatic thoughts aren't rational sometimes. They aren't based in fact. We very often become embedded in childhood, and they're overly critical and unhealthy. Now, if you were a child who was always told negative things about yourself, maybe you had mean parents, or maybe you had friends that were bullies, or you thought they were your friends, but they were actually bullies and who always told you negative things about yourself. And you start listening to those things and it gets embedded in the fiber of your brain, right? And then as you get older, you see, this is why people have children that are shy. When people have children that are shy, you know, they don't want to be social, right? They want to stay off to themselves. Sometimes it's because the children suffer from low self-esteem or low vibrational energy. And this sometimes comes from parents talking down on children. Oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're just like your no good father. Oh, you're just like your no good mother. Saying those things stays within them. And as these children who are verbally abused and mistreated grow older, they still harbor those same feelings, and it can absolutely affect them into adulthood. This is what they mean when they say some things that happen scar you for life. That's why I always tell you to speak life into your children and your loved ones. And what's funny to me is some people will talk so mean and nasty and hateful to the people that they claim to love so much, but they will go to work and their boss will tick them off, and they will sit there and smile and grin and bear it and take it, and they will not utter a word. And why will they do that? Because they know they need that job, because they know they want to keep that check. But you mean to tell me the person at home who loves you, who's there for you, who's got your back, who you live with and sleep with and breathe with on a daily, you mean to tell me you can talk to them crazy? Make that make sense. But what if these thoughts could be quieted, or better yet, just removed altogether? What if we could gain control over our inner voices and reteach it to be more supportive, positive, and helpful? And you absolutely can do that. You can regain control over your inner voice, right? That's all goes back to what I say all the time: positive affirmations or mantras. You want to say things that breathe life into you. You want to think positively of yourself. I love myself. I am awesome. I can accomplish my goals. I am going to do positive things. I am going to make an impact on the world. I am going to inspire someone, right? I am great. Like I told you, Muhammad Ali always said he was the greatest, and he was. And why did he become the greatest? Because he spoke it into existence. He visualized it and it materialized. He manifested it. Now, that's the basis of confidence hypnosis. Utilizing hypnotherapy. Now, with this, we can access these unconscious automatic thoughts, and through the power of suggestion, we can begin to unseat and reframe them. Simply put, in other words, hypnosis can be a very powerful tool for targeting the root cause of low self-esteem. It can help prevent those negative, overly critical thoughts from telling us how to feel about ourselves, and empower us to rid ourselves of these negative thinking patterns. because that is what's wrong with many of us. We can't accomplish our dreams and goals because we allow negative habits and negative thinking patterns and also negative things that come from other people to influence how we feel about ourselves. So with that all being said, this is the first part. As I told you, it's a lot that comes with this. We're going to get more into the details of visualization and the benefits of it, along with hypnosis, right? We're going to talk about that on part 2. I may do that later today, if not tomorrow. Okay? Deron says, facts, queen, and the scripture says it too. Proverbs 18:21. Absolutely, beloved. Okay? And you know, whatever so a man thinketh, that so he is. So if you think you're a loser, if you think you're too fat, if you think nobody loves you, you manifest those things just by saying it. Focusing your energies, as I always tell you, focusing on the negative, that just makes it more negative. Some people say, oh, I'm so broke. And then they wonder why they stay broke. Because you keep saying it to yourself. The universe, here's what we say. See, our thoughts are energy. And our thoughts become reality when we start speaking them into existence, right? And we start acting out our thoughts. And when you're saying, oh, I'm too fat, or, you know, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that, oh, I'm so broke, the universe hears what you're saying. So the universe is like, wait a minute, you want to be broke? You want to stay broke? Okay, you're broke. So don't say that. I have money. I have abundance. I am able to pay my bills. I am happy. I am free. I am in love. People love me. Saying those things, right? You want to speak positivity into yourself. Okay? Speak life into yourself. Remember, the power of life and death is in the tongue. That's in the Bible. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Remember that. Hey, Mark Ayers from the UK. Okay, so with that all being said, Silent B says, thank you for the spiritual vitamins, Queen. You're welcome, beloved. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Listen, I hope you all got something out of this. As you go into your day, stay high vibrational, raise your levels of consciousness. Try not to allow psychic vampires to bring you down or, you know, dampen your spirits or dim your lights. And make sure you do something constructive, productive, and never destructive. I hope to see you all in the next live, which is going to start at 1:30. I'm going to be going live on the True Crime channel. Okay, I have a couple of stories on the True Crime channel that you don't want to miss. All right, and then I'm going to be back live on Queen Ahmadiyyah, the Queen Ahmadiyyah TV show, and Authentic Black Goddess TV at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your daily vitamins. So don't miss out. 1:30 and then again at 6:30. Okay, True Crime at 1:30. So with that all being said, I wish you love, peace, and prosperity. Enjoy the rest of this lovely day. And remember, I've got my third eye on you. Peace.